Good morning. It's Friday the 27th of January. There are growing calls for TransPennine Express, the train operator which provides services across the north of England and into Scotland, to be stripped of its franchise.
It comes as the company continues to cancel services on a daily basis, with 40% of train journeys axed last week alone. Our transport correspondent Katie Austin has this report.
For many rail commuters, like these in Marsden in West Yorkshire, getting around has become an ordeal, and not just on strike days.
Well, trains are always cancelled. You can't rely on them. I go to work to Manchester and I only go one day a week, but it's still a nightmare. I'd probably go in a bit more to work if I could get the trains, if they were on time.
It's absolutely shocking at the moment. I wouldn't call this a train service at all. It's just absolutely dire and incredibly stressful for commuters.
Train cancellations in Britain have reached record levels. The industry blames COVID delaying the training of drivers, staff sickness and factors like winter weather, plus the knock-on impact of strikes. TransPennine Express, which runs services around the north of England and into Scotland, has been making dozens of cancellations each day for months. The Northern Powerhouse Partnership, a campaigning business group, claims today that the operator's problems are costing the economy in West Yorkshire £2 million a week, the whole north of England £8 million a week, and it predicts the issues will cost the northern economy £500 million a year if not sorted out.
I apologise. We know that this business is really important to the north of England and Scotland. We have a recovery plan.
I mean, last week, for example, I think 40% of your services were cancelled. That's just not good enough, is it?
No, it isn't good enough. This week, it's been much better. We have to keep training crews. We have to keep managing sickness.
Another issue at TransPennine is drivers aren't currently working overtime shifts. It doesn't have an agreement in place with their union.
We've got more drivers than we've ever had before. But when you haven't got an overtime agreement, it's more difficult to get through the rate of training that we want to.
But the drivers' union doesn't accept that.
They want to hide their ineptitude and their bad faith by blaming it on the trade union and want us to work our days off when they're behaving so badly to the people that they employ.
Labour has called for TransPennine to lose its contract when it's up in May. The Mayor of West Yorkshire says she has lost faith in the operator.
This has been going on for months. Over the last year, they've cancelled 18,000 services. I mean, just get your head around that. Only last week, 600. So it's not apology we need. We need new operators to take that route on and to deliver the service that the people of the North deserve.
The government says it constantly reviews the performance of all train companies, and all options remain on the table when it comes to contracts. Katie Austin, BBC News.
Meanwhile, doubts have been raised about whether the HS2 rail link will terminate in central London as originally planned.
Now, the government hasn't denied a report this morning that the high-speed line may end in West London because of spiralling costs. Let's talk to our political correspondent, Ione Wells. Ione, morning to you. So, rail rows there or across England?
That's right, and there are concerns raised, as you say, today about where this HS2 line will now finish. We know 2 years ago that the branch of it from the East Midlands to Leeds was scrapped. Now, the Sun newspaper is reporting that it may not end in London Euston anymore, in central London, but instead end at a new terminal hub in the suburbs of West London, meaning that commuters who are travelling to London would need to get another connection from West London into central London at the end of their journey. Now, clearly this is a concern because the point of HS2 was to make connections between central London and the north quicker and more direct. But the suggestion is that with inflation so high and the cost of construction materials so high at the moment, that last leg to London Euston may either have to be delayed or even potentially scrapped completely. Now, the Department for Transport in the UK government haven't denied this report today, but they have said that they are committed to delivering HS2 to Manchester. But I think we can expect lots more reaction to this story today.
Indeed. Continued pressure on the Conservative Party chairman, Nadeem Zahawi, from within the party, this over his tax affairs.
That's right. There was a bit of an uncomfortable intervention for the government last night from the Conservative MP Jake Berry, who's the former Conservative Party chairman himself. How he said that Nadeem Sahawi should stand aside while this investigation into his tax affairs is ongoing. He suggested that the government should find a way for MPs or ministers who are under investigation to stand aside while they clear their name and then be able to return to government if they do. I think what he's hinting at here is an issue that a number of Conservatives have raised at the moment, which is they feel that while he's under investigation, this whole thing is becoming a huge distraction from what the Conservative Party and what the government want to be talking about going forward. Now, yesterday, for example, was another example of this, with negative headlines after the boss of HMRC said there are not penalties for innocent errors in people's tax affairs. We know that part of this multi-million-pound settlement that Nadeem Sahawi had to pay to HMRC was a penalty back in the summer. Now, he has said that he is happy for HMRC to give his tax details to the government's independent ethics advisor. He thinks that this will corroborate his account and help clear his name as part of this investigation. And certainly, allies of his who I've spoken to seem confident that he will get through this, talking about his plans to campaign, for example, ahead of May's local elections. But it's that campaigning, it's being a spokesperson for the party up and down the country, which is proving so difficult for him at a time when he's facing questions about his own ethics.
Indeed. Ione, thanks so much. Ione Wells there.